It appears the demo shop accidentally listed something. Welcome back, troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Time for our weekly mod collection demo shop update. First things first, the mod collection changed their profile picture. This actually happened last week, but I forgot to mention it. It changed from this to this. We've got these 3 new guitars here with a whole bunch of other cases in the background. It looks like we might have a Dave Mustaine Flying V right here, and then this looks like the Epiphone Casino style case. Anything else in a brown case, it could be anything. But we've got that Les Paul Jr. we saw a couple of weeks back. It's actually on Reverb right now. I think we've seen this mint green Les Paul custom before, but what is that? I wonder if that's one of the newer Carina style ones that's like $10,000, but they've modified it to only have a neck pickup and then some other basic controls. I don't know if I like that one yet, but we have not seen that one surface to the shop as far as I'm aware. So that's one for us to look out for in the future. But hey, this week we had about 15 new guitars. I was here in time to see all of them. Let's go ahead and look at my favorites. Starting off with the one that I was pretty tempted to buy. I don't know about you guys, but this thing is sweet. So it's a J200. They've actually taken off the very iconic J200 pickguard and swapped it over with just a tortoiseshell one to allow the Red Widow finish to fully take over. This really reminds me a lot of the Black Widow Les Paul. I mean, they could have taken it a step further and like dyed our inlays here red, but it still had a cool appearance even without that. But not only did they red over the headstock, but they did the full-on back too, so they covered over your herringbone strip or whatever it's called. But it almost looks to me like they just sprayed over a regular Sunburst one with this transparent red finish, because you can see the heel cap right here also has that, as well as the rest of the binding. The finish on the neck is typically bursted. So I was nearly ready to buy this, but then I read, ooh, satin finish. I just wish they would do a full-on gloss. I get it, it's easier for them, and they were actually offering this at a slight discount, but I decided to leave that one to someone else. But it was probably the coolest one in the mod collection this week. Next up, we had another one of these 70s Flying Vs that they did up in a color, because this one follows the same scheme of those 6 limited editions that we were looking at not too long ago, having the matching color stinger on the back of the headstock and the red pickup rings matching the pickguard. But this one did not have a limited edition number on it. So maybe they did the first 6 as a limited edition and now they're just going to do this for a whole bunch of other ones. So great if you like the design, but honestly, I don't think it's that cool of a design to do more than 6. But they modified some 70s Explorers as well. This finish is called Grand Tan. They have like a black moto pickguard going on here with a B5 Bigsby. The back was also done up like that. It's got a cool vibe, but not my favorite. I much more prefer this Ebony version, where they pretty much did very similar things. I just think the dark color works better on the Explorer. Although the tan finish is a lot more rare on an Explorer, so they're both cool in their own ways. Here was another one I was tempted to buy. 70s Les Paul Deluxe in the cherry finish. But what does this guitar remind you of? The Pete Townsend signature guitar. I'm very happy they did one of these things up because it's so easy for them just to put that middle humbucker in there. Now they could have went as far as putting a number on it, but you can't go too far without having to pay the artist royalties, right? So we'll have to be looking out for a Goldtop next. Continuing on, we have TV Orange Satin. This one's interesting. I like the color. It looks like a natural, like TV yellow one that is just so heavily aged. Like the clear coat lacquer over top of it has just ambered over by having so much tar from smoke on it. It gives me those vibes, but then they also routed out the neck P90 for a humbucker, which I don't quite agree. I'd rather be the other way personally. But then look at that headstock. They also did that orange over for that, and that looks great. If you're looking for that aged Gibson USA type look, this is the one that's got it. Offered at $17.99 and quickly sold. Now at first glance, this next one, Les Paul Standard 50 is okay. We see a million of these. Why are you showing me this, Trogly? This, VOS, that's a custom shop term, not a Gibson USA. So they gave this thing the custom shop light aging treatment. VOS stands for Vintage Original Spec. Basically, they try to make the guitar look like it's been brand new, kept in a case, but still has a little bit of wear and patina to it due to the age of the thing. You can definitely see that the pickups and hardware have been aged, which the mod collection has been doing, but this has a lot of what almost looks like natural finish checking to me. Like this one might have been returned because it had some checking within the finish brand new, so they just decided to go full on with it. But to see VOS on a USA was fascinating. Next up, another Deluxe. I mean, if you were shopping for one of these Deluxe and you dare to be different, you might as well get a lime green Goldtop one, right? I'm imagining they just kind of sprayed it over in a translucent lime color and you still have the gold finish underneath it due to the name. It's different in a quirky way. And hey, we had one of those modern double cuts in here. Now it doesn't look like they changed too much except for the pickup rings that look like they have a black chrome topper on them, and you've got those really dark amber color speed knobs. But other than that, it looks factory stock. I was looking at the serial number on these, 2017. Man, it's nearly been 5 years since those things have been introduced. That's crazy. You can check out my review and demo if you want to learn more about that model though. Next up, we had a 330. As far as I'm aware, Gibson does not make the 330 currently. I mean, there was the Slim Harpos, but as far as their regular production, when I was doing some research lately, it looks like you'd have to get the Epiphone Casino at this point in time. So this one's been kind of casino-ified, I guess you could say, with the chromed out look. And it looks like we got the high performance knobs right there and roasted ruby finish. This is a pretty sweet ride. Oh man, whew. Missed that. Black Stinger with natural, dark natural back and sides. All right, whoever got roasted ruby 330, I'm a little bit jealous, even though I probably would have passed on it at that price, but that is really cool. That's got enough it factors to it that I probably would have reviewed and demoed it. And then we had Beauregarde Pearl, which is like just a midnight blue-like finish on a Les Paul Jr. But it appears to have been a gloss refinish, and it was a full-on refin. Let's swap over to the European Demo Shop. Unfortunately, I'm recording this too early. They haven't updated yet, so we'll catch them next week. But I believe I forgot to check out this figured Walnut 335. That's pretty nice. It's got some good wood grain, a nice dark but yet light walnut color at the same time. That's a cool looker. But now onto the Demo Shop offerings. A lot of players grade models, not too much in terms of like super fancy that I want to talk about, but we've got a handful of them, starting with the clickbait of the video. I don't think Gibson was supposed to list this, because I actually caught the Demo Shop naturally about 15 minutes after it had updated this week, and I saw this, and at first it's like, okay, Black SG, not so good, but then I read the title, Silver Fox. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So I was on my phone, scrolling through, it's like, okay, kind of blacked out. I prefer Silver Fox when it's kind of yellowed and aged over, where it's more of a green. So I was looking through here, I saw the BR serial number with 160 on it, and I was like, okay, nice. This is one of those old Brian Ray signature ones, I think from 2015, 2016, if I'm remembering correctly, but it did not look anything like this. It would have originally looked like this. So it had a B5 Bigsby on it. I believe it's a Vibramate because you can actually swap this back and forth, just like the Brian Ray Signature Jr. that I reviewed. It's a conversion. But it had this white pickguard on it. It had the white Brian Ray 63 SG right there. It had a white truss rod cover. But there we go. BR 130 is the one that's currently for sale on Reverb, and it had this whole COA booklet thing, and yeah, that's how you tell it's a convertible. So then we flop back over here. I cannot see any pickguard holes on this, which made me think, A, maybe they're there, but they're hard to see. Just like I don't even see a tenon cover in this photo, but in this photo you can see it. But they blacked out the truss rod cover. It looks like they added a O for Bro 160 to try to hide the fact that it was a Brian Ray. And I was tempted to buy this, but it was $3,500, which I thought was fair for an end user. But if I'm going to review and demo this model, I would rather it be in its stock configuration. So I decided to pass on it. But then in laying all these listings out to talk about them in tonight's episode, I noticed it wasn't there. Thankfully, I'd saved it on my phone because this wasn't in the sold listing. They pulled this. So that either means A, it's an inside job, somebody wanted to buy it directly at Gibson, or maybe they picked it up or something, or B, they took this listing down because, hey, you need to modify it even further. We can't put a Brian Ray custom shop guitar in here. So I'll be interested to see if this one shows back up next week with further modifications to make it not look like a signature guitar. Either way, Silver Fox on a 61 SG standard, potentially even without a pickguard, not a bad price. Oh, and if you're wondering why there's no Bigsby holes, remember, it's a conversion system. That's a Vibramate system, so there would be no holes. You might find some scuffs that are hidden by these photos, but that is a pretty cool guitar. Next up, they must have picked out a palette that had 2015 through 2017 guitars on it, because here's one of the Goldtop modern double cuts. Very shortly lived model. Again, you can check out the review and demo if you want to know more. I had the flame top iteration. I really do still want to review one of the semi-hollow version ones, preferably that pink one. And I've seen some cool like blue ones too. But the last one of current offerings that you can still buy today was a standard 50s in Tobacco Burst. This reminded me of the antique Sunburst that you find on that Slash signature model. This is not the normal tobacco, so that's a nice one. As far as the rest, it's pretty basic. And now let's get on to the sold listings. So I tell you guys almost every week, these Les Paul Moderns, when they modify them, they're hardly even recognizable anymore, especially when they did this whole zebra phenomenon, because it reminds me of like one of the older classics or traditionals. But no, this is one of the Les Paul Moderns. It's got a pretty dark back with a lot of nice wood grain. Then there was this SG that was pretty cool. Nice figuring within the body. I like the modifications and the aged hardware. I wish they would have modified the neck to have like trapezoid inlays and like maybe a Gibson Mother of Pearl logo, but maybe that's asking too much because this is one of the lower grade SG tributes. But this maple neck does have some figuring, and maple necks on an SG are pretty cool. As far as custom colors, we had a burnt orange custom shop. This is a top refin only. We've seen similar ones. I think they did a cartridge brass at one point in time and other orange ones. Kind of cool for like a Halloween type guitar, but we're ways away from Halloween, but still a nice one. This J45 gave me a shock. Whoa, 12 string J45. Interesting. I feel like guitars that are 12 strings, they should just have this be the leading photo so people who want a 12 string would see it. Otherwise, you might miss it from this. I mean, you can tell because it's got double the bridge pins right here, but at first glance, you might miss. Then they had one of those GOOs, part of their new generation collection, as they call it. I think it's about $200 off, so it wasn't that bad. And here's another one for 330s. This is one of those older ones. It looks nice. Just has a great aged finish, but this was built at the old Memphis factory. Oh, and looking up here, it looks like if you like this finish, they've got a couple more in the demo shop. Oh, okay, these are over in the European demo shop. Because once again, at the end of the page, if you change your location to France or Netherlands, that's the only way you can see those listings. So that's why they popped up and suggested. So that's $4,000 including value-added tax and everything if you're in France or the Netherlands. And they also have this really nice looking 175 P90 variation. Cool. But check out the standard T. That's a really nice top. I always loved the crosshatch pattern of the wood grain with the flame. It's a very 80s characteristic. You find that a lot on things like Spotlight Specials and Heritage Series guitars. If you're a fan of that era, you're a fan of tops like these. But say what you want about like the later years of the Henry J era, some of these standards have nice tops. They're usually pretty pinstripey though. And the last one to share today, we had an SG Junior that's been chromed out with the pickup cover. Alright, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed the recap today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.